Hi and welcome to Michael Talks Business, where all sorts of entrepreneurs give us their advice on business. I'm Michael and today we're talking to Ben Hou. He's a photographer for 10 years. He does fashion and commercial photography. Let's get to it. Ben, first tell the audience what it is exactly you do. I know you do photography. What kind of photography?
My photography is mainly commercial photography and dealing with clients, shooting advertising, marketing materials, and also shooting fashions.
So you deal with models?
Yeah, I deal with models, shooting a lot of creative, and all different kind of photography.
Do you do wedding photography as well?
No, that's one thing I try to avoid.
Oh yeah, how come?
It's a lot of it is a lot of work. Not everybody can do it, and you have to have a special personality to go with it. Right, and the idea of that is someone's biggest day. There's a lot to lose.
Screw it up, yes.
No, you don't want to screw it up, right? But it's more like I shot it before, but I never liked it.
I see. So in creative, you feel like you get more of that creative input.
Yeah, it's creative input. You have more plan to go into it. You have an idea, right? When you're doing more marketing, you have layouts. You have art directors. Everybody, come together, putting their idea together. With weddings, it's like you catch the special moment. If you miss it,
it's basically coverage, yeah.
Yeah, if you miss it, it's gone, right?
I see.
In advertising, we fake it.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So that's why I try to stay away from wedding. But you do wedding ads, that's different, right?
Wedding ads?
Yeah. This more staged.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like,
yes, for fashion, if you shoot wedding wardrobe.
Like editorial.
Yes,
like that. I see.
Yeah,
okay.
It's more staged, and which I do shoot that.
How long have you been doing photography?
So I've been doing photography since high school, and that's about almost 12, 13 years now.
Oh wow! What about professionally?
Professionally, over 10.
10 years.
Yes, I started off in a large studio. Production house.
Well, working for somebody.
Yeah, for one of the bigger company, which they don't exist anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, they got bought over. It's the nature of the business.
Of course.
Somebody always buying another studios, and then they merge to one big giant one. And then starting up as assistants, you learn about the trade and how everything works. School can only teach you so much. You learn pretty much over like 90% everything on job, all the tricks, all the lingos in the business.
So do you actually, would you suggest to somebody who wants to be a photographer, would you suggest to go to school, or is it better to maybe spend those years that you would be in school rather in the industry and just learn, hands-on?
No, I would say go to school first, learn the basic, because if you don't know the basic, you at least need to know how to set up a camera or how to use one, right? The basics and how to light, especially with photography. We use a lot of special lightings. Using strobe, it's not easy to pick up. You can use a flash, but when you come to shooting bigger items, jobs, you need to learn how to use flash more professionally. And when it comes to photography, everything is about lighting. And you can use natural lighting for everything.
People sometimes go and buy a lot of equipment or want to buy a lot of equipment because they think that's going to make their product better than the competition. Do you think that's true? Is that something that people should do or not do? What's your take on it?
It's like every photographer is look at the new shiny toys. They always want it. It's nature, right? But when it comes to photography, you buy what you need. Don't overbuy it. Invest into a good lens, Body comes and goes, but lens stays.
What would you say about doing free work in the beginning?
Free work, see, that's where a lot of problem comes in with the industry, with free work, right? Everybody understands, like even I still get emails, people says, oh, can you do my pictures for free and it help you learn your skill? Okay, so sometimes you says, if it's more special items, they said, okay, fine, we'll do it at cost, but you can't do that for long. Like, the industry has changed so much because of the cost of doing business, the equipment, the time, your skill, right? And you give all that away for free, you're dragging everybody down. If you look at a lot of the retail websites and like even mid-level range retail websites, their image is very standardized. They have a template of how everything should be done.
So there's no artistic.
No, there's no artistic. There's certain company that does that. They understand the value of photography, but when it comes to selling items on e-commerce, it doesn't really matter anymore. The quality, because it's just how many can you shoot an hour, right? And
comes back down to price.
It always comes down to price because.
So I mean, that's a good point you're making. I hear from photographers all the time that the business of photography has become so saturated. Everybody thinks they're a photographer if they have any kind of camera.
Yes.
What do you do? I mean, you can't just have a race to the bottom.
It is a race to the bottom, right? If you look at a lot of companies these days, they hire in-house photographers to cut costs, right? Yeah. And the quality of work suffers because they will hire somebody coming to shoot clothes, right? And then they expect to shoot 50, 60 a day, right? To style it, to shoot it, and to edit it all in one day, which it's the quality of the image of the product all suffers.
Naturally.
Of course, because when you care about speed, you don't worry about the detail, right? Things that slip by. And when you come to individual studios, such as like my studio, right? You still get everything done on time, but the quality of service is there. When you do the lowest price I've seen, the people charging $10, $15 a shot, but it's when you do just one shot or two shots, you're getting paid less than minimum wage these days. Yeah. So it's kind of scary, the nature of our business is going downhill.
But I'm assuming you wouldn't just drive, or you wouldn't suggest to anybody to just drive their prices down, even if there's such competition. I mean, maybe just higher your quality.
See, if you keep driving down the price, the quality of the image will suffer, and the clients will not be happy. If you want to keep the quality up and you're getting driving down the price, you're not making money. Like some people can do it if they're shooting in their home or on location, but everything, the moment you start working, there's a cost.
As a beginning photographer,
yes.
Did you think about whether you wanted to be a photographer that does only one thing or a photographer that does many different things?
In the beginning, everybody always wants to shoot one thing. There's a lot of photographers
out. To shoot what?
Shoot one thing, yes. Right? A lot of photographers wants to do fashion. They want to be fashion glamour. Huh?
How come?
Does
it pay well?
If you be the 1%, yes, right? But it's the glamour of it, the romance being a fashion photographer. Travel the world, yes, go to beaches, but that's only a fraction of the business. There are a lot of different type of photography, and there are a lot of industry based on that, right? And then you pick one, you kind of pigeonhole yourself to do other things. That's why it's better to train yourself to able to shoot everything.
Well, what about the branding aspect of it? I mean, if you brand yourself as, let's say, somebody who does fashion and does weddings and does product photography, doesn't that sort of spread you a little too thin in people's eyes?
In people's eyes, it is. Like, I find that normally commercial and weddings is very hard to mix. Like there are, if you look at the whole industry of photography, there are, like, to me, there are three groups, right? There are the, the wedding portrait photographers, the people who serve customers, like everyday people. And then there are the agency photographers, the people who shoots for Rolling Stone, the people who shoots for the more branding, more art direction, the more higher ups. And then there are the middle ones. The middle ones are who works at a production house. People who shoots for flyers, catalogs, other websites that are more technical. You shoot it, you print it, and there you go. Because it's all set. It's the three sets side of the business. And for these three sides to interfere, to be together, it's very hard. Because you can't be a top 1% photographer and doing catalog work or shooting somebody's wedding.
Yeah. So for young entrepreneurs who are just starting out in photography, what advice would you give them? What is something that you wish you'd known when you were starting out?
Shoot more, much as you possibly could.
Anything?
Anything. Learn, shoot a bag of chips. That's a very good exercise.
Yeah.
Because it will teach you about
lighting. How do you
lighting.
make a bag of chips pretty?
Yes, right? Exactly. It's not. It may sound easy. It's not. Find the shiniest bag and just go at it. It's not the easiest things to do. And also, when you're starting up, networking is very important. Put yourself out there. There's a lot of different networking groups out there, and you learn from them about the business, and don't be afraid to take risk. Okay. Try certain things out.
What kind of risks are you talking about? What kind of risks are you talking about?
Anything different your ideas. It's. If it works, it works. If it fails, you learn, right? You learn from your mistake, right? And certain how things to do or not to do, And the other thing is just how to present yourself, Present yourself to, online.
You're talking about branding yourself.
Branding yourself, yes.
As a photographer.
As a photographer, find out what you do best and start from there.
I see.
Right? And then on your spare time, learn to shoot whatever you're not so good at. Right.
That's great. Ben, thank you so much for doing this today and for sharing your advice with our entrepreneurs. So if you want to see more of Ben's stuff online, some of his beautiful photography, you can visit his website at
zone9studio.com.
Zone9, that's the number 9studio.com. Thank you for watching. We really hope you enjoyed our conversation and really got something out of it. Please like, share, and comment. We'd love to know what you think. Till next time.